Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating research behind beta glucans. We're going to break down what they are, how they might work, and what more than 30 clinical studies are telling us about their potential role in cancer care.
So let's just start with this one powerful question, because really, this gets to the absolute heart of the research. The idea here isn't about finding some kind of magic bullet, but about empowering our body's own defense system to be a much stronger, much more effective partner in the fight against cancer.
You know, anyone who's been through a cancer diagnosis or has been close to someone who has knows that the battle is really fought on two fronts. First, there's the direct fight against the cancer itself. But then there's this equally tough challenge of just maintaining your strength and your quality of life while going through treatments like chemotherapy, which can be incredibly hard on the body.
And that's where this potential ally comes in, an ally that researchers are looking at to help tip the scales in this two-front battle. We're talking about a class of compounds known as beta glucans.
So what exactly are they? Well, beta glucans aren't some new lab invention. They're actually naturally occurring complex sugars, and you find them in the cell walls of things like shiitake mushrooms and even baker's yeast. And for decades, scientists have been studying them for their really remarkable ability to interact with and even stimulate our immune system.
Now, this is a super important point. Not all beta glucans are created equal. You've probably heard of the beta glucans in oatmeal, right? Well, those are fantastic for helping with cholesterol, but the ones we're talking about today, from mushrooms and yeast, are structurally different. They have this unique molecular shape that lets them talk to our immune cells, and that's exactly why they're the focus of all these oncology studies.
So how exactly do these compounds fit into a patient's strategy? Well, the research points to a complementary approach. They aren't meant to replace standard treatments at all, but to work alongside them, supporting the body through the entire process.
When you look at all the clinical trials, the potential benefits really seem to fall into two main buckets. First, helping the body's own immune system get better at fighting the tumor directly. And second, helping protect the body from some of that collateral damage that powerful treatments can cause, which, of course, can make a huge difference in a patient's quality of life.
So, how does it all work under the hood? Well, think of beta glucans as a kind of personal trainer for your immune system. Studies suggest they help your immune cells get better at identifying and targeting cancer cells. They can also help make the area around the tumor less friendly for cancer growth. And they seem to act as a shield, protecting healthy immune cells during chemo. There's even some really interesting research suggesting they might help overcome a tumor's resistance to certain drugs.
Okay, so that's the theory. It all sounds great, right? But what does the data from studies with actual cancer patients tell us? Let's take a look at some of the numbers.
Let's start with a big meta-analysis out of Japan. They pooled the data from 650 patients with advanced gastric cancer. And what they found was that adding a specific beta-glucan from shiitake mushrooms to chemotherapy led to a 24% relative improvement in overall survival. That's significant.
And we see a really similar story in non-small cell lung cancer. In another meta-analysis of 12 different studies with over 950 patients, the group that got a beta-glucan with their chemo had a 31% higher objective response rate. That just means their tumor shrank significantly more compared to the group that only got chemo.
And sometimes, the results are even more dramatic. Take a phase 2 study on metastatic triple-negative breast cancer, which is a notoriously tough-to-treat cancer. Adding a yeast-derived beta-glucan to the immunotherapy drug was associated with a 50% increase in the median overall survival time. Just wow.
And the researchers leading these studies, they don't mince words. This quote from that gastric cancer analysis really sums it up perfectly, highlighting what they call a significant advantage in survival.
But, you know, this isn't just about survival numbers. It's also about quality of life. For example, back in that lung cancer analysis, the rate of severe gastrointestinal side effects, we're talking really bad nausea and diarrhea, was cut in half for the group that got the beta-glucan. I mean, that is a massive difference in a patient's day-to-day experience during treatment.
So the crucial point here is that this isn't just a one-off finding in one type of cancer. We're seeing a consistent pattern of improved outcomes, whether it's better survival, better treatment response, or lower recurrence rates across clinical studies for a whole range of cancers, including gastric, lung, breast, liver, and colorectal. Okay, so we've looked at the science, we've looked at the data. Now, what's the single most important thing to take away from all this for a patient or for their family?
It really boils down to this. The whole point of understanding this research isn't for self-diagnosis or self-prescription, not at all. It's about empowering you to have a smarter, more collaborative conversation with your oncology team. It's about being a more active partner in your own care.
So let's just quickly recap the key takeaways. 1. Beta glucans are always studied as a complementary therapy, meaning they're added to standard treatments, not used instead of them. 2. Their main job is to support and train your own body's defenses. And 3. A really solid body of evidence now suggests this support can lead to better outcomes, longer survival, and fewer side effects, which all add up to a better quality of life.
Now, this is, without a doubt, the most critical point of this entire explainer. Your medical team, your oncologist, they have the complete picture of your health, your specific diagnosis, your entire treatment plan. No decision about adding any new supplement, no matter how promising the research looks, should ever be made without their expert guidance, period.
And so that brings us to our final thought. When you look at the consistent findings across so many clinical studies, all pointing to improved survival, better treatment response, and fewer side effects, the ultimate question isn't whether beta-glucans are some miracle cure. The real question is this: is the evidence now strong enough to make this a conversation worth having with your doctor?